Have you ever wondered where the world's most famous conqueror is buried? Alexander the Great, a pharaoh of Egypt, vanished after his death, and his tomb remains the greatest unsolved mystery, archaeology. But he's not the only one. Where are the final resting places of legendary figures like Cleopatra, Nefertiti, and Imhotep, the architect of the first pyramid? For centuries, treasure hunters and archaeologists have scoured the sands of Egypt, yet the tombs of some of its most powerful rulers remain completely hidden. Are they lost forever? Or are they waiting just beneath our feet, holding secrets that could rewrite history? Today, we're diving deep into the search for these missing pharaohs. We'll explore the tantalizing clues, the wild theories, and the cutting-edge technology being used to crack a 2,000-year-old cold case. What if I told you we might be closer than ever to finding them? Stick with me, because the story of what happened to these legendary rulers is more bizarre and fascinating than you could ever imagine. Let's start with the big one, Alexander the Great. After conquering half the known world, he died in Babylon in 323 BC. His body, preserved in honey, was hijacked on its way to Macedonia by his general, Ptolemy, who brought it to Egypt. Ancient accounts say his golden sarcophagus was a major tourist attraction in the city of Alexandria for centuries. Roman emperors like Julius Caesar and Augustus paid their respects. But then, around the 4th century AD, all records of the tomb just stop. It's like it vanished into thin air. So, what happened? One theory is that it was destroyed by a massive tsunami that devastated Alexandria in 365 AD. Other scholars believe it was looted and demolished during a period of religious upheaval when pagan temples were being torn down. But the most exciting theory is that it's still there, hidden somewhere beneath the modern city. Over 140 official excavations have been conducted, but Alexandria is a living, breathing metropolis. Digging is almost impossible. Could Alexander's tomb be lying under an apartment building or a busy street, completely undiscovered? The search continues, with some now using ground-penetrating radar, hoping for a blip that signals a hidden chamber. Now, let's talk about a queen whose story is just as captivating, Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt, famous for her romances with Caesar and Mark Antony. After their defeat, rather than be paraded through Rome as a prisoner, she and Antony took their own lives. The Roman historian Plutarch tells us that Emperor Octavian granted their final wish to be buried together in a magnificent tomb. But where is it? For a long time, everyone assumed it was lost in the same earthquake that might have destroyed Alexander's tomb, as her palace was also in Alexandria. But a thrilling discovery shifted the search entirely. About 30 miles outside the city, at a temple called Tapusiris Magna, archaeologists found something incredible. They uncovered a series of tunnels deep beneath the temple, along with coins bearing Cleopatra's face and busts of the queen herself. The lead archaeologist, Kathleen Martinez, is convinced this is the spot. She argues that Cleopatra, a devout follower of the goddess Isis, would have wanted to be buried in a sacred temple dedicated to her, far from her Roman enemies. The tunnels are flooded and unstable, making exploration incredibly dangerous. But every artifact they pull from the mud brings them closer. If they find it, it won't just be the tomb of a queen. It will be the tomb of two of history's most famous lovers, undisturbed for 2 millennia. Imagine what could be inside. The list of missing royals doesn't stop there. What about Nefertiti, the beautiful and powerful wife of the heretic king Akhenaten? Her iconic bust is one of the most famous artifacts in the world, yet her tomb is a complete enigma. After her husband's radical religious reforms, her name was seemingly erased from history. For years, experts thought she was buried in the royal necropolis at Amarna, the city her husband built. But the tombs there were all desecrated and empty. Then, in 2015, a bombshell theory emerged. An Egyptologist studying the high-resolution scans of Tutankhamun's tomb noticed something strange: faint lines on the walls of the burial chamber, suggesting hidden doorways. He proposed that King Tut's tomb was actually just the antechamber to a much larger, grander tomb belonging to none other than his stepmother, Nefertiti. The idea was electric. Could one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history be hiding an even bigger one? Initial radar scans seemed to confirm the existence of hollow spaces behind the walls. The world held its breath. But subsequent, more advanced scans came back with conflicting results, and the Egyptian government, cautious about damaging the priceless tomb, has been hesitant to drill. So, is Nefertiti waiting behind that painted wall, her tomb filled with treasures to rival Tutankhamun's? Or is it just a crack in the plaster? The mystery remains tantalizingly unresolved. Let's not forget the masterminds. Imhotep, the brilliant architect who designed the step pyramid at Saqqara, the world's first ever stone building. He was so revered that centuries after his death, he was worshipped as a god of medicine. Pilgrims traveled to his cult center at Saqqara, leaving offerings in hopes of being healed. We know he was buried there, somewhere near the pyramid he created. We've even found inscriptions from ancient visitors asking for directions to Imhotep's tomb. But despite centuries of intensive digging at Saqqara, a site filled with countless tombs, his has never been found. It's an almost unbelievable puzzle. How can the tomb of the man who started it all, in the very cemetery he designed, still be missing? Some experts believe his tomb was modest and has either been destroyed or is buried so deep beneath later structures that we've simply overlooked it. But others believe a man of his stature would have had a burial fit for a king, full of records of his knowledge. Finding Imhotep's tomb wouldn't just be about gold. It could be a library of ancient wisdom, a genesis of architecture and medicine. The search is a needle in a haystack, but every new shaft uncovered at Saqqara could be the one that leads to the master. And then there are the pharaohs from a period of turmoil, like Ramses VIII. We know he reigned, but that's about it. He is the only pharaoh from the New Kingdom whose tomb in the Valley of the Kings has not been found. The valley was the designated royal cemetery for 500 years, a place of intense archaeological focus. We've found the tombs of kings who reigned for just a few months, yet a legitimate pharaoh is missing. Where could he be? Some think his tomb was started, but never finished, or that it was so small and insignificant that it's been mistaken for a private, non-real tomb. There's also the possibility was completely destroyed by later tomb cutters or flash floods that periodically ravaged the valley. The search for KV-64, the next numbered tomb in the valley, is a quiet obsession for many Egyptologists. Each new season of digging brings hope. They are using seismic imaging and electrical resistivity tomography to map the bedrock, looking for anomalies that could indicate a man-made cavity. Finding the tomb of Ramses VIII wouldn't just fill a gap in our knowledge, it would prove that even in the most explored archaeological site on Earth, the Valley of the Kings still has secrets to reveal. So, why is it so hard to find these tombs? It comes down to three main reasons: time, theft, and secrecy. Ancient tomb robbers were incredibly effective. They were often the very workers who built the tombs, so they knew the layouts and secret passages. They plundered most tombs within a few generations. To combat this, pharaohs started building more and more complex and hidden tombs with full stores, deep shafts, and hidden chambers. It was a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. Many of the tombs we have found were only discovered because priests, in a desperate attempt to save the royal mummies from robbers, gathered them up and reburied them in secret caches, like the famous Deir al-Bahri cache, where dozens of pharaohs, including Ramses the Great, were found huddled together in an unmarked tomb. The tombs of Alexander, Cleopatra, and Nefertiti might be hidden so well that they have eluded everyone for millennia. Furthermore, landscapes change. The Nile shifts its course, cities are built on top of older ones, and sand dunes swallow entire monuments. Finding a tomb isn't just about digging, it's about peeling back layers of time itself. The future of this search is all about technology. Drones equipped with LiDAR can map vast desert areas in incredible detail, revealing subtle lumps and bumps in the sand that could indicate buried structures. Mugography, which uses cosmic rays to detect voids in solid rock, is being tested at the pyramids and could be used to scan cliffsides in the Valley of the Kings without drilling a single hole. And of course, satellite imagery allows archaeologists to spot potential sites from space. But even with all this tech, the search still relies on ancient texts, careful intuition, and a lot of luck. The final resting places of these missing pharaohs are the ultimate cold cases. They are puzzles that have stumped the greatest minds for centuries. But the drive to solve them is relentless, because what's at stake is more than just gold or treasure. It's about connecting with these legendary figures, understanding their lives, their deaths, and the world they shaped. Each potential discovery promises to rewrite a chapter of human history. So, will we find them in our lifetime? Kathleen Martinez is still digging at Taposiris Magna, more convinced than ever that she is on the verge of finding Cleopatra. The debate over Nefertiti's hidden chamber in Tut's tomb continues to simmer. And somewhere beneath the streets of Alexandria or the sands of Saqqara, Alexander and Imhotep may be waiting. The truth is, any day, a construction worker digging a foundation, or an archaeologist clearing a patch of sand, could stumble upon the discovery of a lifetime. The story of ancient Egypt is still being written, and the biggest chapters may be yet to come. What do you think? Which tomb will be found first? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of the past.